Well, Tom, you're becoming the anchor of NBC Nightly News, holding the seat of great anchors before you. I mean, Tom Brokaw, Brian Williams, Lester Holt. We got to start by asking, just how do you feel right now?
Yeah, Alex and Sam, first, thanks so much for having me, and thank you to your viewers for their time. Look, it feels incredible, right? It's unbelievable. It's been every emotion since they offered me the job, and I was like, let me think about this. Should I take? No, I said yes immediately because it was it's a dream of a lifetime. And all those people you mentioned, I grew up an NBC family, right? We watched Tom Brokaw growing up, and then Lester. When I first started working in this business at 21, 22, I met Lester, and he was such a great guy. He's an amazing journalist, but he's also an amazing man. He's always been a friend to me and a mentor. So now to take his place on Nightly News and to sort of honor his legacy and the beautiful traditions and broadcasts he's built, it really is. It's all I can call it is the honor of a lifetime, and I'm looking forward to it. And I want the viewers in Denver to know that I truly believe this is a public service, and even though I work for NBC, I really work for the viewers, and that type of sensibility I'm going to bring to the broadcast every night.
That's right. Well said. Can I ask you, what's the first thing you did when you found out you were going to be the anchor of NBC Nightly News? Did you go like buy yourself something crazy or get ice cream? What do you do in that situation?
Oh, no one's asked me that, but I will share a story with you. I was in the middle of something, and I was with somebody who has no connection to this business, who was helping me out on something, and I was just like, "Can I give you a hug?" And they were sort of taken back. They were like, "Sure," and I was just like, and then after they read the news and they sort of realized it, and they thought it was really funny. But that's what I did. But the first person I told was my wife, and she worked in this business, and we have 3 little kids, and she's sort of the rock that holds it all together for us. She's amazing. And when I was telling her, she sort of couldn't believe the words coming out of my mouth. And I was like, "You're not saying anything." She's like, "I can't believe it." So it was a good moment. It was a funny moment, but like I said, it's been every emotion since then.
It's amazing. And you wear many hats. So of course you're going to be sitting at that desk, but also managing editor. Will there be any changes under your leadership?
Yeah, it's a good question. Look, I think Lester and sort of the legacy of Nightly News is perfect. It's a great broadcast, right? The viewers have turned to us because they trust Nightly News and they like the way the broadcast looks. So we're not going to change much, right? Like I said, I'm going to carry that legacy. I think little by little, I'll be putting my stamp on it, right? And I think that's normal. I think every has to do that. Besides being the anchor, I'm also managing editor, and what that means is that I'm involved with everything that happens before the light turns on and we're live for millions of viewers. And that's really about 90% of the job. And it's picking the stories, figuring out which communities we're going to shine a light on, talking to the reporters and the producers, launching investigations, and then we have this great segment that's been very popular with our viewers called There's Good News Tonight. And I think regardless of your political party, if you're a Republican or a Democrat or you're independent, there are certain things in this country that bring us all together, right? Things that can unite us. And I always want to make sure we highlight that because that's important.
Yeah. I want to ask you, because representation is integral to what we do as journalists. What does it mean to you to be the first Latino anchor of a network evening news program?
It's incredible. I grew up watching a lot of trailblazers that came before me. People like Jose Diaz-Balart, who's been a friend and a mentor. He's almost like a brother to me. But by watching Jose and others, I knew that I could do this as well. I started working in this business at a very young age, 15, and I've worked every job in the newsroom. I've worked really, really hard, and my parents have worked really hard. They sacrificed a lot for me. And so my parents, like I said, they always taught me to sort of work hard and to be proud of this country, but never to forget where you came from. And I don't. I'm so proud to be Cuban American. We still have family in Cuba as well. But that my parents were able to come to this country with nothing, work really hard, and their son is now the anchor of Nightly News. What it tells me is that the American dream is still alive, and I definitely still believe in it.
I love that. And earlier when you were answering the first question, you spoke directly to Denverites, and that is important. So why do you think it's vital for people today, given the state of the world, to watch both local and national news?
Look, I think we live in some wild times, right? You have to know what's going on in your country and overseas, but also in your backyard. and we're getting inundated with information. You're getting text alerts from various news organizations. You're getting texts from your mom and your aunt. You're getting social media messages. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not. You need a place to turn to with your local news and the evening news to make sure you get the right information. We have important decisions we have to make every single day, and so we want to make sure that we give you that important information so you can make those decisions. I think the news is more important than ever because of the proliferation of disinformation out there. We're getting more news than ever before. It's not all always right. At Nightly News, I know you guys do the same in Denver, you work to get it right. Denver is sort of one of those cities where local news has such a great reputation because you guys have built your foundations on storytelling and being there for the viewers. I think also because there's so much information out there, you really have to own breaking news. And that's going to be something I'm really going to put on our team as well. I think there's so much out there. You have to make sure that you don't always have to be first, but you always have to be right. But I want to make sure we are staying very nimble and we're covering all the stories people want to see.
That's right. Thank you for that recognition, because God knows there's so many hardworking journalists in our newsroom here at 9 News. We don't have that much time left, but I do want to ask you just, generally about journalism and bringing folks critical information, really getting out there, being on the scene, bringing the stories to the people from where they're happening is so important. And we see that in you already. Do you think that's something people are really going to resonate as you take on this big role?
I do, and I think people are going to see me out in the field a lot. I hope to sort of bring that reporter's mindset to the anchor chair here at Nightly News. I know Lester did that as well. I think when events happen in our country and around the world that the entire nation pauses because it's so important, I'm going to be there for the viewers. I think I have to be there for the viewers. The greats in our business, and you mentioned some of them early on, they obviously knew how to talk on television, but what really made them great is that they were great listeners. And I think to do that, you have to really go to those communities, you have to hear those stories, and you have to bear witness. And I'm going to continue to do that.
Well said. Tom Llamas, NBC Nightly News, we're so happy for you, and we are rooting you on. Thank you.